We live in a world where it is almost impossible to truly disappear. Every step we take leaves a digital footprint. A ping from a cell phone, a blink from a doorbell camera, a transaction in an app. We leave a trail of breadcrumbs everywhere we go. But what happens when the trail simply stops? What happens when a healthy 21-year-old college student steps outside his apartment in the dead of night and evaporates into thin air within 30 minutes, leaving his keys, his wallet, and his car behind? Welcome back to Behind the Lie. Today we are stripping away the comforting official narratives to look at the dark truth of Caleb Harris. The police called it a tragic accident, a bizarre twist of fate, but science, logic, and the terrible discovery in the dark underbelly of the city prove that the official story is a carefully constructed illusion, because people do not just turn into ghosts. Someone made Caleb vanish, and the truth is far more terrifying than anyone wants to admit. March 4th, 2024, Corpus Christi, Texas. Caleb Harris is spending a completely normal Sunday night. At 2:20 in the morning, his roommate heads to bed. Caleb decides to stay up, ordering a late-night snack from Uber Eats. There is absolutely no panic, no signs of trouble. At 2:24, Caleb sends a Snapchat video to his sister, walking his puppy through the apartment parking lot. But then, the timeline takes a dark, confusing turn. At 3:03, Caleb sends another Snapchat photo to a friend. But he is no longer inside the safe perimeter of his complex. The photo shows a small, dark bridge over a drainage ditch on Ennis Joslin Road. He is standing in the pitch black just a few hundred feet from his entrance. Why did he walk out there? Was he meeting someone? Or was he lured into the shadows? Just 9 minutes later, at 3:12, his cell phone shares its final location with a nearby tower. It doesn't battery die. The signal simply drops into total oblivion. At 3:20, the Uber Eats driver arrives at Caleb's apartment. He leaves the bag of food at the front door, snaps a photo, and walks away. But inside that apartment, the keys, the wallet, and the truck are all left behind. The food sits on the porch, freezing cold. Caleb Harris evaporated into the Texas night in a 12-minute void between a final text and a food delivery. And the answer to where he went was waiting just 400 meters away, in the dark fluid of a wastewater station. For nearly 4 months, the fields were combed, drones filled the skies, and volunteers searched every inch of the Texas brush. Nothing. Caleb Harris had seemingly dissolved until June 24th, 2024. City workers opened a deep wastewater lift station on Perry Place, just 400 meters from Caleb's apartment. Inside the pitch-black fluid of a 5-meter deep well, they found what was left of the 21-year-old student. The police department immediately pushed a comforting, tragic narrative to the media. They suggested Caleb, walking in the dark without his shoes, accidentally fell into an open drainage ditch or a missing manhole cover during a storm, and the underground currents carried his body to the station. A bizarre, fatal accident. But here is where the official story turns into a blatant lie. Welcome back to Behind the Lie, where we look at the physics, not the press releases. The main sewage pipe running from that area to the lift station is exactly 15 inches in diameter, 38 centimeters. Think about that. Caleb Harris was an adult, broad-shouldered man, over 5 feet 11 inches tall. It is a forensic, mathematical impossibility for a human body of that size to pass through a 38-centimeter pipe under hydrostatic pressure without being completely dismembered. Yet, his skeleton was found inside the well. So, how did he get there? The heavy iron covers of the wastewater station are locked. They require specialized industrial tools to lift. Caleb did not wander out in his socks and accidentally slip inside a locked facility. Someone opened that heavy hatch. Someone who knew the city infrastructure. Someone who knew that millions of gallons of waste would hide the evidence forever. It wasn't a tragic slip into the dark. It was a cold, calculated disposal. Because the physical laws of the sewage pipe made the official story impossible, the American true crime community plunged into the realm of the unexplained. 2 chilling alternative theories began to dominate the dark corners of the internet. The first is the urban legend of the Texas infrastructure. Local folklore speaks of transient predators who utilize the massive interconnected underground storm drains of Corpus Christi to move beneath the city completely undetected. Some web sleuths argue Caleb didn't fall into a pipe. He was pulled down into the drainage system by someone who lived in the subterranean darkness. A phantom entity who knew exactly how to navigate the concrete labyrinth beneath the college campus. The second theory is even more sinister. The location of the lift station on Perry Place sits isolated, right on the edge of the wetlands near Oso Bay. For years, locals have whispered about occult activity and strange nighttime gatherings in the secluded brush along the water. Believers in this theory argue Caleb was targeted by a predatory group, abducted in that tight 12-minute window, and utilized in a dark ritual. The locked wastewater well wasn't just a disposal site, it was a hidden tomb chosen to desecrate the victim. But whatever you choose to believe, the forensic reality brings us back to hard science. When the medical examiner finally looked at Caleb's remains, they found no traces of heavy toxins, and crucially, the state of the bone structure suggested he didn't drown in that fluid. He was already dead before his body ever touched the water. The question isn't just who opened that heavy iron hatch. The question is, what kind of monster carried a lifeless body through the quiet Texas night without a single neighbor noticing? Let us look at the most grounded and perhaps the most terrifying theory that the police tried to sweep under the rug. The Uber Eats delivery driver. The official timeline states the driver dropped off the food at 3:20 in the morning, took a confirmation photo, and left. But remember, Caleb's phone stopped pinging the tower at 3:12, just 8 minutes earlier. Caleb was standing outside, near the entrance, waiting for his food. In criminal profiling, an overnight delivery driver is the perfect opportunistic predator. They have a legitimate reason to be in a quiet, dark residential area at 3 in the morning. They know exactly who is awake, who is alone, and who is vulnerable. What if the driver didn't just drop off the bag? What if Caleb approached the car, there was a brief confrontation, or Caleb was lured inside under a false pretext? The police claimed they interviewed the driver and cleared him, but we at Behind the Lie know that being cleared simply means the police lacked immediate evidence. It takes only a few seconds to force a young man into a vehicle at gunpoint, and the lift station where Caleb was found sits right along the route any vehicle would take to exit that part of the city. A quick stop in the dark, a heavy iron hatch opened, and the perfect crime was completed before the food on the porch even turned cold. Caleb's father, Randy Harris, has refused to accept the tragic accident narrative. He has openly stated to the media that he believes his son was taken and that foul play is the only logical explanation. A father's instinct refuses to believe the comforting lies of a lazy investigation. The case of Caleb Harris remains an open wound for Corpus Christi. It stands as a grim reminder that behind the peaceful facade of suburban life, dark anomalies are waiting in the shadows. What do you believe really happened in that 12-minute void? Did Caleb fall victim to a horrific, impossible accident, or did a predator under the cover of night erase his life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them. If you found this deep psychological and forensic breakdown valuable, smash that like button and subscribe to Behind the Lie. We will continue to pull back the curtain on the mysteries the world prefers to keep buried. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Until next time.